In 1940, many countries tried to remain neutral during the war, but as the war became truly global, many neutrals were forced to choose either one side or the other. On the game board, neutral territories are in this lighter color with lines through them. There are three types of neutral territories in the game. There are friendly neutrals, unfriendly neutrals, and strict neutrals. Friendly neutrals are ones that are more sympathetic to your cause. So for example, if I were the German player, then a pro-Axis neutral territory would be a friendly neutral, a pro-Allies neutral territory would be an unfriendly, and a strict neutral like Turkey, because it's neither pro-Axis or pro-Allied. If I'm the German player, on my non-combat move phase, I can move my units into a friendly neutral territory. I would place a control marker on the territory to show that I now own the territory and it is no longer neutral. It is a German-controlled territory. I increase my national production level by the number in the circle. There's also an infantry silhouette here with a number 4 by it. This means that I get to put 4 German infantry units in this territory. I can now use these 4 infantry units in a later turn. Now let's consider an unfriendly neutral. Yugoslavia is pro-Allied, so they are unfriendly neutral to the German player. In the combat movement phase of the German turn, they could combat move these 3 infantry into the pro-Allied territory. The infantry silhouette with a number 5 by it means that the standing army is now activated. So now you can choose any other Allied country and you place 5 infantry there. Now during the combat phase, this battle would ensue. If the Germans are victorious in the battle, you would place a control marker there to signify it's now German controlled and adjust your national production level by 2. If the Germans are unsuccessful, the remaining Allied troops remain there. They can't move out of this territory, but they can be attacked again by German units in another turn. For strict neutrals, let's take Turkey and let's assume that it's the Soviet Union's turn. They may decide that they want to invade Turkey with these units. So they can move in there on the combat movement phase of their turn. You choose one of the opposing sides and raise the standing army, the number of which is denoted by the infantry silhouette and the number. So I would put, let's say, 8 German infantry units there. You would resolve this combat in the combat phase of the Soviet Union's turn. If the Soviet Union is successful, you place a control marker there and increase your national production level by the number in the circle. If the Soviet Union was not successful, the opposing units remain there. They cannot move out of the territory, but can be attacked in a future turn. Once you invade a strict neutral, all other strict neutral territories on the game board become pro-Axis or pro-Allied, according to which side invaded. Since the Soviet Union invaded Turkey here, a strict neutral, all other strict neutrals on the game board would now become pro-Axis. If the Axis powers invade a strict neutral, then all other strict neutrals on the game board become pro-Allied. Another note is that you can only make these moves into neutral territories if you are currently in a state of war. If you are not in a state of war, then you can't move into neutral territories. So at the beginning of the game, when the Soviet Union is not at war with anyone, the Soviet Union player cannot move into a neutral territory, whether it be strict, friendly, or unfriendly. Not only does a naval base allow you to repair damaged units, but a naval base also allows ships departing from a sea zone adjacent to a territory that contains a naval base to move 1 extra space. So normally ships move 2, so when departing from a sea zone next to a territory with a naval base, they can now move 3. So 1, 2, 3. An operative airbase on an island allows planes on that island to scramble and defend against naval attacks in this adjacent sea zone. So if Japan were to attack naval units here, an operative airbase in Hawaii would allow these fighters to scramble to take part in defense in that sea zone. The Japanese player has the ability to make a special attack, known as a kamikaze attack. These attacks can only occur when one or more of the following islands are captured or recaptured by the Allies: the Philippines, Marianas, Okinawa, and our Iwo Jima. Once one or more of them are captured or recaptured by the Allies, the Japanese can make this kamikaze attack. The Japanese can make this kamikaze attack when an Allied ship enters one of the sea zones that has a kamikaze symbol on it. These sea zones are Japan, Okinawa, Iwo Jima, Formosa, Marianas, and the Philippines. If an Allied player has moved ships into one of these sea zones, the Japanese player can announce during the conduct combat phase that he or she intends to launch a kamikaze attack against that ship. A kamikaze attack can only target specific enemy warships. The Japanese player must declare how many kamikaze attacks will be made, in which sea zones they will be used, and which enemy ships will be attacked by each kamikaze before any dice are rolled. So on the American conduct combat phase, if an American ship is in this sea zone with a kamikaze symbol on it and the conditions have been met, the Japanese player can say, I'm going to conduct a kamikaze attack on this ship. And there are special markers the Japanese have to denote each kamikaze. They only have 6 kamikaze defensive measures to take during the game. More than one kamikaze attack can be made against the same ship. Kamikaze units have an attack roll of 2 or less. If a hit is scored, it must be applied to the chosen unit. Sea units hit by kamikaze attacks are immediately removed and do not get to fire back. So how do you win a game of Axis and Allies Pacific 1940? Well, on the map are 8 victory cities crucial to the war effort. The Allies begin the game controlling Calcutta, Manila, Hong Kong, Sydney, Honolulu, and San Francisco. Japan starts the game controlling Shanghai and Tokyo. Japan wins the game by controlling 6 of these 8 victory cities, one of which must be Tokyo, at the end of a complete round of play. The Allies, Great Britain, the United States, China, and Anzac, win the game by controlling the territory of Japan and holding it until the end of the Japanese player's turn following the capture of the territory, as long as they control at least one Allied capital, the Western United States, India, or New South Wales. So how do you win a game of Axis and Allies Europe 1940? On the map are 11 victory cities crucial to the war effort. The Allies begin the game controlling Ottawa, Washington, London, Paris, Cairo, Leningrad, Moscow, and Stalingrad. The Axis powers begin the game by controlling Berlin, Rome, and Warsaw. The Axis powers win the game by controlling any of these 8 victory cities for a complete round of play, as long as they control one of the Axis capitals, Berlin or Rome. The Allied powers win the game by controlling Berlin and Rome for a complete round of play, as long as they control an Allied capital, which is Washington, London, Paris, or Moscow. So if you have both Axis and Allies Pacific 1940 and Axis and Allies Europe 1940, you can play them individually as theater level games. You can just play Axis and Allies Pacific 1940, or you can just play the European theater in Europe 1940. But if you buy both games, you can combine them and play the global Axis and Allies 1940. The way you do that is you just set up the maps as you do for each theater level game, and then you join the maps together in the middle, like so. Let me give you a panoramic shot of the entire map. Set the game up as you would for each theater level game individually, and you join the maps, and then the eastern edge of the map is going to wrap around to the western edge of the map. For the global game only, you're going to add the following units to the board. In the Soviet territories of Amur, Sakha, and Buryatia, you're going to add 6 infantry. And these are the units that in the European theater level game are being recalled. Those units you get in the European game are these units. So you won't get those units in the European theater when you play the global game because these units are here. Additionally, you place 1 Anzac infantry unit in Egypt. When you're playing the Axis and Allies 1940 global game, national objectives are going to be replaced by a separate set of rules. The political situation rules, or what you might think they would be when you combine the two games. But for completeness, we're going to go through each country involved in the global game and outline their political situation again. Germany, Japan, and Italy make up the Axis power. For the moment, the United Kingdom, along with the collective Commonwealth, Canada, and Anzac, France, and China make up the Allies. The United States and the Soviet Union are currently neutral. During this period, many other countries tried to remain neutral as well. As the war became global, many neutrals were forced to join one side or the other. The following rules reflect the growth and development of these historical events from 1940 on. These rules replace the political situation in Axis and Allies Pacific 1940 and Axis and Allies Europe 1940, Germany. Germany is at war with France, the United Kingdom, and Anzac. Germany can declare war on the United States, the Soviet Union, or China at the beginning of the combat move phase of any of its turns. A state of war between Germany and one of these 3 powers won't affect its relations with the other 2. The Soviet Union begins the game at war with nobody. The Soviet Union may not declare war on any European Axis power before turn 4 unless first declared war upon by a European Axis power. When not yet at war with Japan, in addition to the normal restrictions, the Soviet Union may not move units into China. Japan. At the beginning of the game, Japan is at war only with China. Japan considers movement of units into China by any other Allied power as an act of war against it. Japan may declare war on the United Kingdom, Anzac, the United States, France, or the Soviet Union at the beginning of the combat move phase of any of its turns. A declaration of war by Japan against either the United Kingdom or Anzac will immediately result in a state of war between Japan and both of those powers. A state of war between Japan and France or between Japan and the Soviet Union will not affect relations between Japan and the United States and vice versa. Japan may attack Dutch territories only if a state of war exists between it and the United Kingdom and Anzac. The United Kingdom. The United Kingdom, along with France, begins the game at war with Italy and Germany. The United Kingdom may declare war on Japan at the beginning of the combat move phase of any of its turns, resulting in a state of war between Japan and both the United Kingdom and Anzac. When not yet at war with Japan, in addition to the normal restrictions, the United Kingdom may not move units into China. It may, however, move units into Dutch territories as a non-combat movement at any time as long as those territories have not been captured by an Axis power. It may actually take control of Dutch territories, gaining their IPC income by moving land units into them. Additionally, the United Kingdom considers attacks against any Dutch territories to be acts of war against it directly. Once a Dutch territory has been captured by an Axis power, however, it may be captured and controlled by any power. The player controlling the United Kingdom is also going to track income generated and spent in the European and Pacific theaters separately. UK units purchased and placed on the Pacific map can only be bought with IPCs generated on the Pacific map, and UK units purchased and placed on the Europe map can only be bought with IPCs generated on the Europe map. Calcutta is considered to be a regional capital. If India is captured by an Axis power, that power will receive the UK players' unspent Pacific IPCs only. If the United Kingdom is captured by an Axis power, that power will receive the UK players' unspent Europe IPCs only. If one of its capitals is captured, the UK player may still continue to collect and spend IPCs in the other capital. The national objectives and bonus income for the United Kingdom are collected by the United Kingdom Europe economy.